Fazelbhoy, the senior partner at ALMT Legal, now joins in to discuss exactly that. Mr. Fazelbhoy, hi, thank you very much for taking the time out. A lot is being made of the speech of the Prime Minister over the weekend that, there could be some amount of increased tax contribution from stock markets. But your sense, sir, if it's not long-term capital gains tax, if that doesn't come, what are the other kind of tax implications that we could possibly see in the budget which could impact stock market gains?
See, government in its typical way has said something which is completely uncalled for. It creates uncertainty. It serves no purpose in my mind. And we don't know what they have in mind because, long-term capital gains on listed shares has been exempt for a long time. There's talk that we must reduce taxes, we must streamline taxes, we must have certainty in the tax rates. We'll bring down corporate tax from 30 to 25%. All this is, the promises are there, but what they are saying is building up more uncertainty and more taxes. So I think it's a completely uncalled statement. I don't know what he has in mind. The finance minister's clarification is a bit wishy-washy, saying that we'll not touch long-term capital gains. But what is he going to do? Are they thinking of increasing STT? Are they thinking of sort of putting conditions saying that you cannot repatriate the gains for some time and you have to reinvest it? Are they thinking of something else? There's so much uncertainty, and I don't know why he had to say such a thing in these times of uncertainty with Europe, with American elections. Why is he creating this uncertainty in India? I mean, if you take a cynical view, maybe it's probably in a sense deliberate. At my own risk I may say that, but if he says these things, the markets tank a little bit, then he does nothing in the budget and markets will soar and he'll say what a good budget it was. So you don't know what they have in mind, and why this statement has come out of the blue, I really don't know.
What is the one taxation, capital markets related, which they can do something about without really, in a way upsetting the apple cart, which also is meaningful in terms of tax revenue collections? Which of those things? Which of these things?
I guess the obvious thing is just to increase the STT a little bit. That's the obvious thing. It's a minuscule, it's 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.01 or something. So if they increase it marginally, maybe that won't rocket too much. But to my mind, they should not do anything. It's really unnecessary.
What about short-term capital gains tax? Because that currently is at around 15%. There are views that maybe it could be hiked up to around 20-odd%. Your sense in terms of whether that would even make sense?
See, to my mind, none of these changes make sense. So if they do it and they do it 20% to bring it in line with dividend distribution tax and buyback tax, everything which is around 20, they might do it. But again, I don't see it's going to disturb the apple cart, is going to disturb foreign portfolio investors coming in. And why do it when you want to encourage investments? You've got so much revenue now with demonetization. What are you trying to achieve?
One doesn't know whether they've got so much revenue by demonetization, and actually revenue would be lost, right? Because state profits go down quite a bit in this quarter and maybe the next quarter as well. Just a quick point. Even though nothing may happen, this kind of thing raises the question, and people wonder, some aloud, some in their heads, that, well, what is going on, right? I mean, there is GST which is coming up. There is GAAR which is coming up. There is budget which is 1 month before, ahead of schedule this time in 2017. With all of the focus on demonetization and preparing in terms of the fallout of demonetization, what should we expect in terms of these critical policy decisions which have to be rolled out, which need a lot of detailing? Should we expect missteps there? Should we expect, flawless kind of rollout execution? What's your sense?
See, I think GAAR is anyways going to be postponed. They've already announced it. And since 2010, we are hearing, not GAAR, I'm talking about GST has been postponed.
But a few months.
By a few months, but it's been going on since 2010. That is going to happen next year. So few months, one says middle of next year, but who knows? Budget, I think one thing good they've done is preponed it to 1st of February. I think that's a very good thing because it was too little time between 28th Feb and 1st April. So I think that's a good thing. smooth rollout of GAAR. I think GAAR has been on the statute books for a while, and I think people are prepared for GAAR. There is still some uncertainty on the commercial substance and the definitions, and some amount of comfort has been given that it has to be referred to a panel, etc. But the comfort what people want, like in the other countries, is like GAAR has to be invoked only in the rarest of rare cases or in really blatant cases, and that comfort is still not there. So there's a little uncertainty, but I think people are more resigned to GAAR and more accepting of it, and the grandfathering is good. So I think GAAR will be relatively smoother. GST will have its problems, and this uncertainty on this taxation of listed securities is going to create a problem.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for coming in.
And
Appreciate you joining
direct
us with that perspective. Thanks indeed.
Okay.
Okay, we'll